From the Dialectic of Enlightenment by Horkheimer and Adorno, published 1947, translated by Edmund Jeffcott. As you'll see, the authors mean by Enlightenment not only the historical period of thought, but also the impulse behind that movement, which they understand as a drive to dominate nature using knowledge of nature and knowledge in general. The concept of enlightenment. Enlightenment, understood in the widest sense as the advance of thought, has always aimed at liberating human beings from fear and installing them as masters. Yet the wholly enlightened earth is radiant with triumphant calamity. Enlightenment's program was the disenchantment of the world. It wanted to dispel myths, to overthrow fantasy with knowledge. Bacon, quote-unquote, the father of experimental philosophy, brought these motifs together. He despised the exponents of tradition who substituted belief for knowledge and were as unwilling to doubt as they were reckless in supplying answers. All this, Bacon said, stood in the way of, quote-unquote, the happy match between the mind of man and the things of nature, with the results that humanity was unable to use its knowledge for the betterment of its condition. Although not a mathematician, Bacon well understood the scientific temper which was to come after him. The happy match, quote-unquote, between human understanding and the nature of things that he envisaged is a patriarchal one. The mind, conquering superstition, is to rule over disenchanted nature. Knowledge, which is power, knows no limits, either in its enslavement of creation or in its deference to worldly masters. Just as it serves all the purposes of the bourgeois economy, both in factories and on the battlefield, it is at the disposal of entrepreneurs regardless of their origins. Kings control technology no more directly than do merchants. Kings control technology no more directly than do merchants. It is as democratic as the economic system with which it evolved. Technology is the essence of this knowledge. It aims to produce neither concepts nor images, nor the joy of understanding, but method, exploitation of the labor of others, capital. The, quote, many things which, according to Bacon, knowledge still held in store are themselves mere instruments. The radio is a sublimated printing press. The dive bomber is a more effective form of artillery. Remote control is a more reliable compass. What human beings seek to learn from nature is how to use it to dominate wholly both it and human beings. Nothing else counts. Ruthlessness toward itself, the Enlightenment has eradicated the last remnant of its own self-awareness. Only thought which does violence to itself is hard enough to shatter myths. Power and knowledge are synonymous. Its concern is not satisfaction, quote, which men call truth, but operation, end quote, the effective procedure. The, quote, true end scope or office of knowledge does not consist in any plausible, delectable, reverend, or admired discourse, this is Bacon, or any satisfactory arguments, but in effecting and working, in discovery of particulars not revealed before, for the better endowment and help of man's life. End quote. There shall be neither mystery nor any desire to reveal mystery. The disenchantment of the world means the extirpation of animism. On their way to modern science, human beings have discarded meaning. The concept is replaced by the formula, the cause by rules and probability. From now on, matter was finally to be controlled without the illusion of immanent powers or hidden properties. For enlightenment, anything which does not conform to the standard of calculability and utility must be viewed with suspicion. Enlightenment is totalitarianism. Enlightenment has always regarded anthropomorphism, the projection of subjective powers onto nature, as the basis of myth. The supernatural, spirits, and demons are taken to be reflections of human beings who allow themselves to be frightened by natural phenomena. For the Enlightenment, only what can be encompassed by unity has the structure of an existence or an event. Its ideal is the system from which everything and anything follows. Formal logic was the high school of unification. It offered Enlightenment thinkers a schema for making the world calculable. Bourgeois society is ruled by equivalence. It makes dissimilar things comparable by reducing them to abstract quantities. For the Enlightenment, anything which cannot be resolved into numbers and ultimately into one is illusion. Modern positivism consigns it to poetry. Unity remains the watchword from Parmenides to Russell. All gods and qualities must be destroyed. The Olympian deities are no longer directly identical with elements, but signify them. From now on, being is split between Greek logos, which with the advance of philosophy contracts to a mere monad, a mere reference point, and the mass of things and creatures in the external world. The single distinction between man's own existence and reality swallows up all others. Human beings purchase the increase in their power with estrangement from that over which it is exerted. Enlightenment stands in the same relationship to things as the dictator to human beings. He knows them to the extent that he can manipulate them. The man of science knows things to the extent that he can make them. There, in itself, becomes for him. In their transformation, the essence of things is revealed as always the same, a substrate of domination. Nature, stripped of qualities, becomes the chaotic stuff of mere classification, and the all-powerful self becomes a mere having, an abstract identity. Whatever might be different is made the same. That is the verdict which critically sets the boundaries to possible experience. The identity of everything with everything is bought at the cost that nothing can at the same time be identical to itself. Enlightenment dissolves away the injustice of the old inequality of unmediated mastery, but at the same time perpetuates it in universal mediation by relating every existing thing to every other. It amputates the incommensurable. Not merely are qualities dissolved in thought, but human beings are forced into real conformity. The blessing that the market does not ask about birth is paid for in the exchange society by the fact that the possibilities conferred by birth are molded to fit the production of goods that can be bought on the market. Each human being has been endowed with a self of his or her own different from all others, so that it could all the more surely be made the same. But because that self never quite fitted the mold, Enlightenment throughout the liberalistic period has always sympathized with social coercion. The unity of the manipulated collective consists in the negation of each individual, and in the scorn poured on the type of society which could make people into individuals. The Horde, a term which is doubtless to be found in the Hitler Youth Organization, is not a relapse into the old barbarism, but the triumph of repressive égalité, the degeneration of the equality of rights into the wrong inflicted by equals. The fake myth of fascism reveals itself as the genuine myth of prehistory. In that genuine myth beheld retribution, while the false one wreaks it blindly on its victims. Any attempt to break the compulsion of nature by breaking nature only succumbs more deeply to that compulsion. That has been the trajectory of European civilization.